Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared sharp betting information.
Welcome back to our final podcast, Podcast 70 of 2018. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neil. You can tweet me at The Public Dog, or you can tweet us at The Odds Breakers. This is our New Year's special. Actually, it's not that much of a special. It's just going to be me real quick. But I didn't get to, of course, cover the January 1st games. So thought it was pretty important for me to at least get that out for you guys. We're going to also recap a little bit of last week. Should you need a sports book, please visit theoddsbreakers.com/uwager and click on the link for a 50% first-time sign-up bonus. Terms and conditions apply. If you'd like to help us out with our costs, we would love to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com. And for $12.99 a month, well, it's still that $12.99 a month for another week or so, you can become a member and get our premium picks when we make the picks before the line moves. And for $2 more, you can be a patron subscriber and get our podcast early as well. If nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a free picks newsletter subscriber. What a crazy weekend of college football. And, wasn't our best weekend. We went 2-3 in football. 5-4-1 in the NFL, but barely profitable there because the Cowboys decided to start Dak Prescott and play him the whole game, and they beat the Giants when they are down by 7 at the very last minute of the game. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But what really made the weekend for me is Nunez beat Cyborg. I thought that was awesome. It always seems like she's the underdog. I've been betting her since the Miesha Tate fight, and she came up victorious, went up in weight class to do it. She is the best ultimate fighter for the female division that I have ever seen, and she seems like she's going to retain this title for a little while, in my opinion. So I don't think you're going to see her as a dog again. So, might have to pick some different type of prop bets if you don't want to lay the juice and lay all that money to, just win a little bit, of course. But, man, what a crazy college football weekend, I tell you. Michigan, how terrible was Michigan and Purdue over the last week in bowl games. The Big Ten should literally fine these schools for how bad that they looked, against the SEC, of course. And now if, you're a Big Ten fan and you look on Twitter, you're going to see a lot of SEC love and they might make fun of the Big Ten a little bit. So I was pretty disappointed in that. You can see some of the lines change a little bit. Some more bets towards the SEC because of it, I think. You're going to see a little bit of the Penn State money possibly favor Kentucky a little bit. I already seen the Iowa money even go a little bit towards Mississippi State. Now, maybe that's a good thing if you like the Big Ten side. So, yeah, very disappointed. Michigan got their butts kicked against Florida. Now, Florida looked like they really cared and they looked motivated, but you got to give it up to them and their coach, Dan Mullen. They are poised to recruit very well now and become a force once again in Florida. So I'm sure our guy Brian Edwards, shout out, is going to be pretty happy about that, him being a Gator fan. But I'll tell you, they are on the right direction and they made the right coaching hire. As far as Harbaugh is concerned, we'll see. You hear a ton of rumors that he might go to the NFL. Not sure what's going to happen there. So I'll tell you this, the way that Michigan played and all the holdouts that they had, you wonder if those players knew something, but not going to speculate anything yet. For all we know, he's going to stay in Michigan. But I'll tell you this: I've been a big defender of Jim Harbaugh over the years, and it's starting to grow a little bit weaker on me now. And I still think he's a great coach, but he's got to get over the hump here. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to keep having his back here and stay, especially in these situations. The college football championship, you have Alabama now facing Clemson. You saw that Clemson take care of business easily against Notre Dame. Now, there's some calls that definitely went Clemson's way. Little controversial there. The fact that you can overturn something without complete visual evidence and a fumble. I still think Clemson would have won. Not saying they necessarily would have done it right away, but I think they definitely would have won the game. We were on the wrong side of it. So we wanted the Notre Dame the first half, and obviously the Clemson did cover the second half. So that didn't work out, but I'll tell you what did. We waited for that Alabama under to go all the way up to 81 points, and we hit it, and we barely nailed that. The game finished at 79. There's some 78s and 77s out there a few days before the game too. So I'm really glad that I didn't tell anybody to fire on that number. But, there was a live betting situation at the end of the third quarter where the under was 69, and I hit the over and was able to double up on that. I thought that was a very weak number coming into that game, especially with the way these teams have been scoring. So was really happy with how that game turned out, but obviously being on the Michigan side was terrible during the weekend. Well, I do have some thoughts on the new Alabama versus Clemson line. Alabama's favored by 6. Already gave out one play in the game. Over-unders at 59.5 to the members out there, but we are not going to discuss it until the next podcast in a few days. I want to quick recap the NFL as well. Our Giants season ticket cashed, which was great. We went under 8 wins, 7 wins, and 6.5 wins. I hit it a bunch of times. So I guess that was our most bet season win total. Did decent in the NFL. Not quite as good as college. We lost Jacksonville on the over. We hit Tennessee's over 8. Hit Tampa Bay's under 6.5. Lost on the Colts. I think it was under 6.5 we went for the season win totals that we made before the season. Obviously hit the Bears. Chargers we hit as well. Trying to remember what the other ones were, but it ended up really well because the Giants went under like we thought. The hype went in when they drafted Saquon Barkley, and he's a great player, possibly a top 3 running back in the NFL. Well, now that Kareem Hunt's out, I'd put him in the top 3. But you need an offensive line, and you also need a halfway decent defense. And I guess their defense was very middle to bad this year, especially the first 8 games for the Giants. So I really like them next year, though. I'm gonna see what they do out in the offseason, see some moves, and you might even see a play on the over for their season wins, as long as it's under 6.5 area, which is where I kind of expected. Man, that Cowboys, I cannot believe they played Dak the whole game. How stupid is that? They're already locked into the 4 seed of the playoffs. I'm starting to think maybe Jerry Jones had something to say with Jason Garrett. I almost think that Jason Garrett wouldn't have done that by himself. It's crazy, but they played with fire and ended up good on the other side. They won the game, but it was a meaningless game for them, and I thought they risked way too much. You saw Van Der Esch, their linebacker, get banged up as well. I'm sure he's okay. I think he came back in the game, but he got banged up this game, and I didn't think he should be playing, especially with all the injuries they had to Sean Lee. So I definitely didn't understand it. The Bears, They were awesome. They took out the Vikings. Now, they were playing for something. They were trying to play for a first-round bye. And then they started resting people in the fourth quarter, so I do understand that a little bit more. I didn't think they needed to play Mitch the second half, but they played him in the third quarter anyway. I didn't think that was a smart idea. I think the game was meaningless, and I almost would have thought that it'd be better for the Bears to play the Vikings instead of the Eagles. But, the fact that they took out the Packers out of the playoffs and they took the Vikings out of the playoffs is already made it a successful season, even if the Bears do lose their first playoff game. So, in my opinion, great job for the Chicago Bears, and it's already been a successful season, even if they lose that first playoff game. So, really happy about that. Our new podcast schedule after football season, we're going to just be podcasting for Friday mornings. It'll be done on Thursday, and then you'll have your plays for the college basketball weekend. Now, we're still going to obviously talk about the NFL and podcast about that until the season is over around the middle of the week. But the new schedule is just going to, after football season, will be once a week, released on Thursday nights. I want to discuss our NFL future tickets now and explain how we're going to hedge those. We have the Bears. We actually have a couple on the Bears. We have the Bears 100-1 and a smaller one at 150-1 to win the Super Bowl. We have the Chargers at 35-1 to win the Super Bowl. We have the Colts at 100-1 that we took about 3.5 weeks ago, gave it out to members. And we have the Saints at 19-1 that we made before the season. Those were our only futures. So we lucked out that everybody is in the playoffs. It's our only Super Bowl futures. We were on the Bears for the conference and the Vikings for the conference. But, the division, NFC North. But we are going to explain what we're going to do here. So the fact that the Bears are going to be about plus or minus 180 to win this game, or the Eagles are going to be about plus 200. That makes hedging way too easy here. So we're going to start hedging this right away. And I think the Bears are going to win. And I actually think they're going to cover the spread. I think it's 6 points. But the reason that you hedge this game is kind of the same reason you hedged the Buffalo versus Northern Illinois in the MAC championship. The Bears, young team, first-year coach, finally got the offense together. Are they going to just blow it, against a team that just won the Super Bowl and then has been there before? It's like everyone knows, in a one-game situation, not the best team doesn't always win. I'm not sure if they're mature enough to win, and it's just too easy to hedge this. So we're going to, go right for the jugular here and at least double our bet, starting out. You don't want to hedge too much. Otherwise, you have to keep hedging more and more. Ideally, you want the Bears to play the Saints in the NFC Championship. Then you can pretty much do what you want. But, right now, we're going to start hedging that 100 and 150-1 ticket for those reasons, because there is a chance that Nick Foles is going to be Super Bowl Nick Foles and just be lights out. But the Bears defense should be able to get to him. The Chargers 35-1. We are going to hedge this right away. The Chargers, I think, weren't quite as good as their record. They lost already to the Ravens at home. They tried that game, and now they're playing at Baltimore. They're not even favorites. There's a way to play this Ravens team, and I hope it's what they do. And you have to play zone defense with a safety over the top of John Brown, maybe even a combo. But you have to play contain. You can't sit there and blitz Lamar Jackson because there's no reason to do that. He's just going to take off running. You play contain and you force him to beat you through the air. It's not like when you play Tom Brady, when you have to blitz a ton, play press coverage, and then, if he beats you, he beats you. He's going to anyway. When you play the Patriots, you have to outscore them. If you play zone against the Patriots, Brady will pick you apart. But against Lamar Jackson, you have to force him to beat you with his arm. Play wide.